What's good, y'all? Welcome to Zenkai Station, the greatest podcast in Sector 5, bring you good times and dopeness personified. Yo, I'm your host, Isaiah, aka Senpai Savage. And next up, we got...
Yeah, it was good. It's the Phantom fucking hate managers, Kurokami. How are you doing today?
Sheesh! I'm following suit.
You already know what it is. We out here like a light. I'm only able to use my mic, so you already know I'm about to get it like haiku with the spike. I'm using the speakers off the monitor, so let's get this thing going. It's your boy Black Kobayashi. Let's move.
Hey, trifecta in full effect, but we're not alone. Today, we got a special guest. We talk about this man a whole lot, so let us introduce the homie, Diavante.
Minister Society.
This nigga get an apple.
He came on his rebuke bag.
No, hold on. We gonna put on the solo screen. What's good? Special guest, introduce
got
yourself.
me himself.
What's good? I had to get an apple because this apple was so good yesterday. Not gonna lie.
He said he sounds
So
like a
because of yesterday, you had to get the apple now.
Yeah, because I thought about it. I'm like, oh, I gotta get an apple. I know. I'm sorry.
Introduce yourself, fool.
All right, my bad. My name is Young Oracion on the mic. You know, coming for your chick like All Might Ike.
Oh my
That's
god.
it.
Oh
what's
my
up?
God.
What's up, everybody?
What's good, yo? What's good, yo? So yeah, legendary guest on here. We've talked about this man so much. Like we've dropped like subliminals about you, bro. So like let's get it started with first question.
My opening statement is this. All right. I need my producer credits.
Oh God.
Don't even try to edit this out. I need my producer.
Damn, that's crazy. So when just like that, we don't have a guest on the show. Wow, out here. That was the quickest interview we ever did.
Oh my Ike.
So how, you know what? We like to start things off with a vibe check. How y'all doing today?
So we just go out like that. This shit just happen. I'm sorry. We just gonna add this man dying.
That's crazy.
You know,
That's crazy.
Hit that
All right.
real quick, dog.
I got supporting statements for that fact.
Oh Lord. He came back with the same energy.
Listen, look. All right, Zenkai Station, right? You got Kurokami, who is. I grew up with his brother ever since I moved back to my hometown. You wouldn't be close to him if it wasn't for me.
Facts.
And you got Black Kobayashi, who's my cousin. You definitely wouldn't be close to him if it wasn't for me. So this whole Zenkai Station is
like
yo. All I'm saying is that without me, this Zenkai Station right here would not exist. So I need my producing credits. I'm changing my LinkedIn after this, and I'm putting it on there. So stop playing with me.
I need you to.
So, Young Oracion.
kill him like that.
So, Young Oracion, question
Yes, sir.
for you.
So,
were you in part of any of the graphic design work?
Oh,
yes, I'm about to do the Japanese part. So stop playing with me. I'm about to write it.
I'm probably going to take care of it.
That
was just an ask. That wasn't actual graphic design.
You can't write in Japanese, but I can.
hey,
I know how to write the Zenkai.
It's called Google, and
but it's
called. I can also ask a Japanese homie.
No, I'm gonna tell them no.
You can come up with any of the episode ideas and topics.
Listen, you got the popcorn.
Without me, this would not be here. That's all I'm saying. Without me, it wouldn't be here. And two, your Black Bahan wouldn't let me be a part of it because, like, nah, D, what we're gonna do is we're not gonna do online. We're gonna do in person. So the time zone, you can't be on here because you live in Japan. But look at you now. You're online. This man just got up and left. He just got. So
hey, that warm out. Ooh.
I can't even have the people. That's crazy. I can't even have my support backing me up. That's crazy.
Because what support, dog? You wilding for no reason.
I'm just know I need producing credits. That's it. Executive producer, whatever it is. Because without me, this would not exist. I introduced you guys. I was the plug. One of my many nicknames.
No work into this project, fam?
My work is you having a close bond with them. That's my work.
He said you want to throw hits?
I'm not gonna box Ike. You know Ike will beat me.
No.
You know Ike will beat me. I'm not gonna box him.
You want to throw the hands?
I'm just wondering how serious you about these producer creds, because you got to fight for it. You got to throw the hands.
Listen, man, we got to do a coin flip when we see the Jujutsu Kaisen movie, and that's it. So I'm leaving it up.
We're not doing a coin flip.
I'm leaving it up to chance.
The headphones on, but they don't even work.
I'm leaving it up to chance, man.
Hey, bro, all I'm saying is, look, if you want to produce an episode like later down, like down the line, I'll give you the producer credit for that episode.
I need to be on the team. You need to put me on the board.
Put you on the board. The board. That's a tall ask for you. That's something we're gonna have to talk about after this, then, if you really want to be a part of the squad.
I wanted to. You said no
because I live in
Japan.
The fact that I still had time to go downstairs, decide what juice to bring up, get Cheez-Its, and this shit is still going on, is amazing. Keep going.
All I'm saying is, really I gave you the facts in the chat. I'm like, all right, if you were serious about it, all right, cool. I gave you the legit play-by-play. I'm like, could you do it? And ultimately, you're like, all right, nah, you're right. I don't have the actual time to do it. And I was like, it was cool. And really after that. But you come on here, you start acting wild, all crazy. Listen. You watch that documentary of Kanye West a little too strongly. I know you and him, you be linking up, thinking you him. Like, look, bro, I know y'all the same height. I know y'all got the crazy amount of confidence, but look, G, hold up.
I've been telling Adrian Kareem about this since last year when I figured out I was coming home.
Don't do that. Don't put me in this. Don't put me in this. You online right now, nigga. This is your fight, and I'm documenting the history right now.
I mean, the whole thing. Adrian said he's like, don't even rely.
That nigga really got the camera up at 4K.
I had to zoom in on it just so you know. I got the facts right here. If you want to be Kanye, we gonna document it all.
This man, Adrian said already. He's like, you know what? He's like, you know what, dude? You gonna say what you gonna say? I ain't gonna say anything. Just keep me out of it. And I'm like, I'm gonna try to bring you.
I'm totally cool with it because I can tell you straight up. I tell you everything straight up. But at the end of the day, you got your own fight that you try and fight. Don't put me in it right now. That is what you boxing right now.
My statement stands.
These are a single pair of boxing gloves.
This brother over here takes Muay Thai and kickboxing. I'm not fighting him.
Well, then I suggest you just let it go.
I'm not letting it go like Frozen. I'm gonna flip a coin, and that's it.
It looked like a Zenkai Station TKO.
I'm asleep. Leave me alone.
That's wild. That is wild.
All right,
listeners, viewers, this is what happens when you bring in a fucking homie you've known since 4th grade onto the show, and just because he can wild out for no damn reason because you homies. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Every time.
I love you to this day. But you wild, bro.
Put me on the board.
You can see it in his face too. Look at his face.
So
he regrets every moment that he put him on this.
I should love that man backstage.
All I'm saying, like, can I put him back down the audience? When's the right time to click that button?
This is gonna be my last statement, and then I'm gonna digress on it. I'm adding it to my LinkedIn, and I'm adding it to my resume.
Okay.
I will laugh at
my damn chipset because I can't.
Oh my god. Okay.
My little cousin does
continue.
that.
You're what?
Knows a nigga with a boat says that he works on that bitch's yacht. Put that shit on his resume. That nigga be lying like a bitch.
He gonna pull up the one episode every time. See, this was me.
I guess I digress on the situation now, so I'm ready to start. That was my opening statement. I'm sorry that it took like 6, 7, 8 minutes.
In closing,
that took like 10.
Young Oracion is not a producer on Zenkai Station. And now, going forward, Young Oracion, how we we like to start things off with a vibe check. So first and foremost, the vibe that we just had was not combative but hilarious. But I do want to say, how's everyone else feeling for the most part today?
Life.
Pretty good.
I'm ready to fight God or become him.
Platinum man.
And now in this corner, we got the reigning, defending champion of whoop ass life. And in the other corner, We got the hungry, competitive, disaster-stricken hand of doom, power of X multiplied by infinity, Black Kobayashi.
And I'm getting fucked up in the first round for the first 3 seconds. Best believe I'm gonna get my ass back up though.
He said I'm coming in and boom, boom, boom. Oh shit! Life got hands. No, I'm good though. I'm up.
No, don't talk. No, it's cool. I got it. I get myself up.
Nah, word. What's going on, Kobayashi?
Damn.
Ooh.
That's real.
No, that
Nah,
one
we good, bro. I'm gonna keep it a stack. It's just it's a busy month. A lot of moving categories right now. A lot of clients that I'm actually getting involved with. Now I'm starting to have clients that's actually like big. And I'm also getting involved with a lot more moving counterparts to my job being such a nuisance to some degree. Like granted, it helps pay a lot of bills and save up money. There's a lot of different things that I have to move around as far as like my actual career of choice that I would like to be doing. So yeah, I have my job, but then I have my career. So then they have to clash because of scheduling, which is irritating, but I also understand it's a part of it. So you just got to grind it out and just keep pushing. I may have those bitchy moments as far as like being irritated because I'm not going to bitch out. I was never built for that and never needed to be built like that. So I'm going to keep on pushing through. That's what we do, regardless of what anybody says. Like we going to keep it moving. So yeah, other than that, just a little tired. But other than that, like, bro, we was built for this. For real talk. So that's about it.
Some real shit. Damn. Man. Well, how about you, Kurokami? How you feeling?
I thought I was gonna have to fight 3 bitches today.
Everyone's so combative today. All right.
Hey,
I literally walked into my job. So for keep things short, it's gotten to a point where I'm thinking that, as Kobayashi was saying, my job and my career are starting to conflict, and my career will always come first. As you guys know, I'm in school. So they tried to give me shit for trying to leave a little bit early to do an interview for my school, like 10, 15 minutes. They had a whole conniption, a whole meltdown. They tried to pull me into the office and all this shit this past week. I was like, I don't care enough. Anyway, I walk in today. They're trying to nitpick the smallest fights. I go to the back. I guess something. All 3 of the managers just look at me just, where's your name tag? I was like, I don't know. They're like, okay. I was like, the fuck y'all staring at me so hard down the street for? Like, what you guys want? Of course not. But anyway, long story short, I'm tired, and I gotta make some decisions in the next couple of months.
Is it? Lord
feel
knows I'm tired.
I feel that.
You singing gospel tired or
options aren't few?
So take me to the king.
Honestly, just threw a Hail Mary to God. That's what it's about to be. Like, come August, I'm about to be like, listen, take the wheel, bro. It's all you.
That's how I've been living this past year.
Take the wheel.
Some change, man. It's been crazy.
Because I need
bread. Yeah, let's talk about that. Then. Word. So yeah, let's talk about that, younger Oracion. So then, where have you been, dog? Because like, you know all of us.
Yeah.
We know you, and the world doesn't know you. So there's your interview. So
like 6 years ago, I just disappeared from America and just went to Japan, and I taught out there for like 3 years. It was fun. Like my classes were like really unorthodox because that's how I am. I would answer almost any questions my students would throw at me. And then after teaching, I went like by my profession is HR, so I did HR for about 2 years for like an English teaching company, and that was all right. But the schedule was like a little hectic, and I decided that like when I was looking for another job when I first came to Japan, it's like, oh, you have the HR experience, but you don't have Japanese. Me personally, I'm not good at self-studying by myself, and I do need a lot of help when it comes to studying. But once I get it, like once I get something, I get it. So one of my biggest moves being out there was like I need to improve my Japanese, and the only way I can do that is by going to school because studying is not really helping. Like self-studying is not really helping me. but it always came down to money. So like I got like just to give you a little bit more detail for people that don't know, got married at the end of was it 2020? Yeah, at the end of
2020.
2020.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got married at the end of 2020, and before that, I was during 2020. My job sent me out to Western Japan to live out there for a few months because we didn't have enough staff that came over from overseas because of the pandemic. So I was out in Western Japan. I'm like, I don't like this. I need to do something else. And my girlfriend at the time, she was like, "Yeah, we can get married, and you always talk about going to school. If we get married, you have this visa, and there's a school in my where I live at, and rent is cheaper, so you can move up there." So that's what I did. I just moved up there, and I moved up there in March, and I worked for my old company for 1 month in the Nagoya area, and then from April to December I was in school. Um, I took they have like a Japanese proficiency test. I passed like it goes like N5, which is the lowest, to N1, which is the highest. I passed N4, and like my teachers were like, "Oh wow, you passed it before you could um you passed it before we even went over it." So I was like, "Oh, I mean that's cool." I was just seeing where I was at, but I wasn't happy with the grade because it was still passing, but I didn't like the grade. And then recently, I took the N3 in December, and my teacher was like, "You're definitely not ready for this one." I'm like, it's okay. It's a part of the plan. I planned on taking it twice because I wanted to see what it was actually like, to see if like how would I do without being taking the class I needed to take it. So I took it, and I actually failed by 12 points, which I was surprised because I'm like, well, that's 12 points. That's not bad. And I didn't take the class. And then I recently I took a break off of school because from April to basically to December, I didn't have any kind of break. I was in school Monday through Friday, then working like Friday to Monday, and I just didn't have any time to myself. Only time I had to myself is when I got sick, is because I was pushing myself too far. But that's not really time to myself because I'm recovering. Um, and then I decided to take a break um, for this semester, and a bunch of things were going on back home, which stressed me out even more. So that's why I'm actually back home, and I've just been relaxing, being around family and friends. That's just like the short version of like how I've been like this past year.
All right.
So
It's
yeah,
definitely been a whole lot,
Yeah.
dude. From marriages to schooling to while all this is happening during the pandemic, and
yeah,
I want to expand a bit more, if you're cool with it, about
yeah,
your
yeah,
whole experience in Japan.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just because I think a lot of people who think of Japan, they really
Mm.
have this tourist sort of view of it.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
mean, you lived there for 6 years, so I know you
yeah,
probably still have the experience of like tourism, like me included.
yeah,
Like when I went over there and
yeah,
visited with you, but getting the better experience of it all. It's I have a greater understanding of
yeah.
Japan, and that's only for being there for 2 weeks.
Mm.
So I guess initially, what was your main reason for going to Japan to begin with 6 years ago?
That I mean, so one of our best friends that we've also known since like fourth grade, maybe even younger than that.
Yeah.
Um, because we were all supposed to graduate college at the same time, but then he changed his major, and
Hmm.
I already got a job right out of school. I was really blessed to get a job right out of school, and I was working in the city doing HR, and I'm like, okay, cool. The company was cool, manager was really cool. The other managers were cool, and our friends like, how we go to Japan and like teach English, and I'm like, yeah, man, no, I got a job right out of school. I'm cool, and I'm like, I'm making money. I live at home, so I don't pay really any little to nothing to stay at home. I'm able to save money for like the first time in my life. Life is good. And he's like, "Nah, man, you know that." So I actually talked to my manager, and my manager was really cool about it. She's like, "You know what, D? You're young. You don't have any kids or anything. You can go explore the world." She's like, "I think you should do it." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. What about the company?" She's like, "I don't worry about the company. The company will be fine." I'm like, "Okay." So we decided to first apply. We got the job, and they wanted us to come in August of 2015. And that year, I was like, yeah, cool, it's gonna work out. But I didn't actually save any. I didn't have I had money saved, but I didn't have enough money saved to go to Japan. And I was like, ah. And our friend was like, he's like, yeah, man, I need to know if we're going to go because I had the money. And I'm like, look, man, you can go without me. I don't have the money. I'm just going to tell them I can go next time. So I sent an email to the company and said, fortunately, I don't have enough funds saved. Is there any way I can come during the next hiring period? And like, oh yeah, you can come in March. I'm like, all right, cool. So like what happened after that, I believe like a month or two later, I got we had a meeting and the company was like, yeah, we're selling your division. I'm like, okay. And the new company was like, yeah, we don't need you. We don't need you in this company, so we're gonna offer you a severance package. I'm like, okay, until when? And they're like, if you stay until like the end of February, and I'm like, the end of February? Like you stay until the end of February, you'll get this severance package plus some bonus, plus like more for staying. And I'm like, all right, that works out with me going to Japan. So that's what I did. Um, so it took me getting laid off to go to Japan, which was really funny. And when I went to Japan, our friend didn't come, which what I found was really funny. But I'm like, it all worked out because now he's doing a lot better. I think him moving back to the New York area was much better for him instead of just going to Japan. So I believe that all things worked out for a reason. And yeah, I mean that's how that's originally how I got to Japan. I didn't really see myself staying there, but what I did was I bought a one-way ticket because I'm not sure I'm going to come. I'm like, if I go back, I'm like, I don't need a round trip ticket because that means I can go back. I'm like, next time if I'm going to leave Japan, I'm going to leave with the one-way ticket, and that's it. But I've been there for 6 years, and I came I came back in 2019. I surprised like my family. Nobody knew I was
Yeah.
coming back. Just came back around Christmas time. I was like, hey, and they what? And I'm like, yeah, it was beautiful. I got to surprise my parents, and my mom was like crying when she saw me because I told her like, yeah, no, Mikey's gonna come. My brother's gonna come drop off some shoes for you. Like drop off some shoes I got to give to somebody. And like when she opened the door, she's like, is that my D? And I could hear her voice like cracking, and I'm like, yeah. But yeah, that's
The baby boy came home.
yeah. That, but yeah, please like try to keep me on topic because I know I will go. Like, I'll just
No,
go off to another
look,
topic.
I know
that was a good
how you
topic.
are, bro. You have
I don't know who you are, bro. This
ADHD.
man can speak about whatever.
Look, man.
Definitely a good topic. There's no need to
But
change
yeah.
anything up because that was definitely where it
Okay.
needed to be at.
Okay, yeah, then that's it for that question. But what other questions? Yeah, I'm not.
Right.
No.
That question.
No.
You sound like Forrest Gump, like a motherfucker. Oh, that's all I have
That's
to
all I
say
say
about
about that. You left this shit.
Because you all know how I can go to I can jump to a different topic out of nowhere and be like,
Bro,
how does
we
this even
know.
make any sense?
Just
And I don't
hey,
want to
look,
confuse the
just
man. Get your
listeners.
produce cred.
bro, don't worry about it. This is what producers do. We will keep you on task. It's all good. This is what hosts do.
I'm trying to be a producer, so I'm trying to keep myself on task.
You
Here
are
we
the
go.
interviewer. So my G. So 6 years in Japan, right? Like so.
Yeah.
Now you didn't mention what you did over there, and for those who didn't know, he went and taught English overseas. I guess from that to like what your ultimate goal is, how are things aligning, and explain what to the people what your ultimate goal is.
Yeah, the teaching was cool, but there wasn't really any money in it. To be like for me to survive, not saying
that's
like
teaching everywhere.
like it's
Free
just
access all around the world.
it's ridiculous. So I was like, you know what? Like I think it was like my third year in Japan, and I sat down and I was doing my budget. Like I was like, all right, bills are going up, but my salary staying the same, and I only get half my pay in the summertime. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna need a job that pays throughout the whole year. So I actually I was like lucky and blessed enough to get into an interview with this one company. They wanted me to be the HR manager, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'll be the hiring manager. And at the end of it, things didn't pan out because they're like, so you know what, we're going. It was between myself and another guy, and the the one of the CEOs, one of the board members, was like, "Look, man, like we were really going, we really wanted you. At the same time, we had to make someone. They actually they promoted somebody within." So I'm like, "All right, that makes sense." I'm like, "Look, man, that person already knows the system. That means you have to spend less time training them on what to do." So I completely understood that. Then they were trying to offer me like another position, but I was like, I mean, it's cool, I'm gonna finish out this contract. And then I applied for another one, a different company for HR, and I actually got it, and I was able
Word.
to move. So there, I stayed there for about 2 years. I did HR from like focusing on like overseas hiring to domestic hiring, um, and that's what it was. It was just basically recruiting, but
Hmm.
I I got really bored there because to me, with my HR background, I come from doing everything from being the recruiter to doing the data entry, from doing the laws and regulations, even putting my managers out on FMLA. So I'm
Hmm.
like, this is prohibiting me. But it also allowed me to see how a Japanese company works and what they expect you to do. Just do one thing. And I'm like, yeah, no, I can't do just one thing. I need to do like multiple things because this is reminds me of like when I first started working at the
Hmm.
my first company in the states, and my manager's like, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, I want to learn a little bit of everything
Mhm.
Okay.
because HR is so vast." And she's like, "Okay, so you want to be a generalist?" And she's like, "A lot of generalists they become HR managers." And I'm like, "All right, cool, that's what I want to do." Because I'm like, like I'm I don't like I like being a jack of all trades. I
Okay.
can't really no, I wouldn't say I'm a master of something,
Okay.
but like there's some things I'm very proficient in and things
Hmm.
I'm not proficient in. So that's what I like about it, that I can pick and choose with HR and go around it and just know a little bit about everything and build off
Mhm.
of that.
So like ultimately, yeah, you want to be like you said, jack
Yeah,
of all trades. You want to be
yeah,
good at just about every
yeah,
kind of thing. You don't want to specialize
yeah,
in one thing over another,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And
All
with
right.
like my ultimate goal in
So like
Japan
a
is to
balance type.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically yeah. Yeah, my ultimate goal in Japan is to be like an HR manager at a like an international company. I really I want to be the person that I needed when I first came to Japan. So I want
Hmm.
to work for a company that either like brings like work for like a college, maybe Temple, because Temple's actually in Japan. Work
Hmm.
for Temple and work with like overseas students, like bringing them like or going out doing stuff like that. Working for like a big company where if they have like an exchange program with inside the company with like other branches around the world, like they bring them to Japan. I really want to do that because like I know I'm like, look, I can give you like if you guys want to move to Japan, I'm like, look, Japan doesn't really like the bank they set you up with, it doesn't give you a debit card.
Mhm.
And like if you
Mm.
want to buy things, like if you want to buy things online, you need a card. But the good thing they also do like cash on delivery in Japan. But I'll
Right.
be like, look, you can get this, you can have two banks there and you should unlock your phone before you come to Japan, and you should get on this plan because it's really cheap and it's also really good. So, because Japan, I believe my mother-in-law, she pays like over $100 for her phone bill just for one phone a month,
Cool.
and
Damn.
I'm like, bro, I'm paying a max of $35 for my phone. I'm like a max. So
So what about Sony? Because I remember we talked about it before.
Sony, man, yeah, definitely. That's one. That's like one of my. It's one of my dreams to work for Sony actually. Like
So
before I actually
you're still considering pursuing that as well, right?
of
Because
course,
I'm
that's a
definitely the
one.
type person that's gonna tell you to keep going.
Of course,
Yeah,
yeah,
for
no,
sure.
because you guys know before, like this relates to like my brother Mike, and because I told Mike, I'm like, you know what? I talked to my manager.
Boy
She's like,
Kels.
yeah. She's like, I
Rude
talked
boy.
to man, Mr. Krabs. That's it.
Chill, bro.
I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it at that. Um, yeah, because when I graduated, I started working. I talked to my managers. I'm like, hey, is there any way I could transfer out of the company? Because the company is really big. I think they had some areas in Dubai. They had some in the UK, and of course they have a bunch of areas across America. And I'm like, you know what? I want to go to I want to go to California. I wanted to live in California for a few years. So my plan then was like stay home for like 4 years, just save money, and then transfer out to California, work out there for about a year and a half at the same, like, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to like a community college out there and continue learning Japanese. So I was actually learning Japanese when I came back home to, like, after graduating college. But the next semester they didn't have night classes for the next level, so I couldn't continue it. Um, but yeah, I was like, I'm gonna stay here for like 4 years, save money, transfer out to California, um, stay there for a year or two at the same time, looking at Sony, see what positions they have, and apply out there because that's where Sony's located. Like that's where like the PlayStation
Yeah,
studios
that's
was.
where the
That's where
biggest
Sony.
production companies are at.
Yeah, that's where the
Yeah.
companies were at. I'm like, if I can get over there, it'll be easier for me to apply there. So that was the plan. I said then ultimately, I'm like, if I continue studying Japanese, I'll ask if I could be transferred over in Japan.
So
So
what was the main thing that you wanted to do in Sony too? Like, was it just HR? Was it like maybe game development, maybe being a part of
just
producing over there?
HR, man. That's where it is because I do love helping people out. I'm not. I wouldn't say. I would say I'm a nice person, but I'm also in your face with stuff.
I would say you more of a counselor type
Yeah.
of person in my book
I'd even
So
type to
because you
say a
definitely
life
like
coach.
to
Counselor.
advise and
yeah.
This man a
figure the
manager.
point.
Real talk.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
definitely. I want to
Where
do
my
HR.
20%?
Exactly. I charge people 10.
yeah, that's a fact.
I charge.
Actually, that remind me of
100%.
Crow D.
Oh yeah.
That 10-15%
So let me get that
needs
10,
that.
15% easy.
Needs that.
Because what was it? Even our boy Nick was like, because like I was like, we know someone that works over at Facebook. You just got done coding and everything. You're looking for an
Mhm.
IT job. I said he actually hires IT people. But I found out he hires like senior level. But I was like, look.
Mhm.
So I talked to our friend beforehand. He's like, look, all I need is like his resume, and like I need him to answer these few questions, and then I'll be able to point him in the right direction. So I called Nick, and I was like, yeah, man, I already talked to him ahead of time because you were taking too long. So he was like, all right. I'm like, look, so all you need to do is send me your resume and answer these few questions. And my man responds like, all right, manager. I was like, bro.
Yeah, bro. You a manager on the real.
I was like, look, I'll go ahead
That's
because
what he just like to do, and then come out of nowhere with a whole rocket launcher just to start some shit.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I am the. I
Don't
even
do it.
tell my mom, I'm the guy with the rocket launcher.
No,
My mom,
no.
my mom's like, yeah, she's like, you're my ride or die. I said, you already know. I said, I will go attack. I will go after people, even if you tell me
But to
not
be a
to.
ride or die, do you need a rocket launcher every time?
No, that's
Yes, he
over.
does. Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Sometimes, 'cause
Yes, he
listen,
does.
listen.
He said, I'm making sure.
Some people will keep on ignoring things until their spot is blown up,
It's the
Listen,
fucking
some stuff
principle
need
of the matter.
finesse.
Blame him.
and that's what happens. Like sometimes, like because
That's what happens with a rocket launcher, bro.
no, because like
That's what
you
you get
try to
blown up with a
talk to
rocket launcher.
people and they try to push it off and no. I said, all right, listen, I know the answers already, so you need to stop playing with me before I pull out this blam blam and keep it going. But
That's what y'all seen. Don't be a menace. What he
exactly.
doing with the fucking news on the block? That's
Do
D, yo.
we have
a
problem?
I mean, even when I was doing like HR in Philly, there's some stuff I dealt with. Like what did I deal with? I dealt with sexual harassment. I dealt with a suicide, and I'm like, all right. And I was like, how old? Oh man, I was like 21 at that time, dealing with stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, so this has prepared me for what's going on. But I do like I wouldn't say I'm a little quick to pull out the rocket launcher if I know everything. If I know what's going on already and people want to play dumb, I'm quick to pull it out because I'm like, y'all just wasting time. I don't have like I believe that time is more important than money because no matter how rich you get, you can never buy time back. And
That's
with
real.
time, you can always make more money. So that's why I'm like, y'all wasting my time. I don't appreciate that. So to not waste my time, I'm gonna blow it up so everything can go crazy, and then we can talk about it. Because now people want to talk about it when everything's blowing up out of spot. But beforehand, you don't want to talk about it. So,
yo, this boy really chaotic good.
No, it's true though.
No,
no one likes to talk about shit until it gets brought to the surface. So if you just force that shit to happen, it's like now we gotta talk about it. Fuck the elephant in the room. Like you gotta do it now.
That's the same thing I tell my wife when we first got together, when we were first dating. I'm like, look, there's gonna be some problems if you don't start talking, because I can't read minds. So don't act like I can read your mind. I know I can tell when you're upset, but express it to me. Let me know why are you upset? Why are you feeling this way? Because I'm like, look, if we keep on sweeping things under the rug, then there's going to be a pile of stuff, and when it hits the fan, it goes crazy. I said, but I want to deal with it before it even gets that any minor thing.
I think that's where it really comes down to. A lot of times, it's like majority of things require communication.
Yes.
And if there's not a clear established way of communicating, then there's going to be a problem.
Exactly.
So when you say blowing up someone's spots, I always understand. We already know. We talk about this all the time. But this is just for the sake of other people and their styles of communication. Sometimes blowing up their spot throws them off, and it becomes more of an environment where they don't feel safe. Now it becomes a whole different thing than it could have been, which is why I say sometimes it would require some finesse. Not saying that their way is wrong, never would. Every way works, in my personal opinion, as long as it gets the job done. But I'm just saying, for the people that may be watching or may be seeing this, there are other ways to attack these certain communication styles. And sometimes you gotta be a hitman, sometimes you gotta have a rocket launcher. Depends on who you're talking to, depends on who's listening. But definitely need to get it across and need to make sure that communication comes across clearly because everybody was raised different.
I gotta even say it's more than just communication, it's about the comprehension too. I can talk to you all the fucking time. If you don't hear if you're not understanding what I'm saying,
just ask a question.
Exactly. Yeah.
And even then, like, you could ask a question, but you could even ask the wrong question. Like, to get on the same page, you have to communicate effectively.
Exactly.
That's everywhere.
And
so, like, everyone wants to say communication this, communication that. It don't mean we can talk, but if you're talking French and I'm a monolingual, what the fuck that mean to me?
And that's another thing where I got to shout out to D for being even in a situation where he's a majority of people that don't even speak your common language.
Yeah.
So your way of communicating through body language, or from the way we even grew up, it's gonna be coming off in a whole different type of way to somebody who's more conservative in a Japan way, and not trying to come at any Japanese that may be different. But they're different than us because they were raised differently in a different environment. With
there's a different culture, like even for like us, there's a different culture from like being Caribbean like Caribbean blood versus like just straight up black United States. Like there's a complete different vibe. And like having that going straight into like Japan, like where people are apparently, I'm not 100% sure, I'm not trying to stereotype, but like more reserved in the culture. Our culture is a lot more bombastic and confrontational. I'd even say like assertive, not aggressive, but assertive. It's just like, hey, yo,
we're more individualistic.
Very.
So like that throws a lot of people off because they're like, oh, that's why we get the stereotype of like the angry black man. It's like, we're not angry. The angry black woman. Like, we're not angry. Just speak, bro. Like,
what's also funny about that too, because I think I talked to us about it before, is that us being black men in America generalized constantly, right? Where we don't actually have a home. We don't have a place where we can go and say this is our culture and we are comfortable to come to this culture, because either we are taken away. I'm talking about African Americans in general, because we have Caribbean in our blood, so we may have different background settings, but technically everybody's still from Africa. I don't care. Moving on. We still have that technicality where if we try to go back to Africa at this point in time, we're going to be pointed as, oh, you're Americanized. You're and even now Jamaicans tell us all the time,
your parents tell that shit too. They're like, oh, you're so Western.
You have no place of having a common rooted place. Where you can feel as though this is where I can be. And I think that kind of like goes into how we're presented as angry black men. Because when you have a home, you find a place of peace. You don't really have a home technically.
So there's disenfranchised people. Like as a culture, it's like, I'm gonna keep it a beam. Fuck you, like the public education system. When you're told as a black person that your history starts with being in bondage, fuck you. Like that's where like that already starts off as a bit. When I'll never forget.
But you have to learn the history too. It's just sad that we have to learn it the way we do.
But there's more to the history than just that. You know, that's the issue.
Much more.
You can tell if you're gonna tell the history. Sure, you gotta tell the ups and downs, but you can't just be like, "Oh yeah, y'all were shit." And it's like, no. There was a point before this,
right?
And then y'all came and fucking destroyed shit, and now it's like, okay, here we are.
Yep.
Like I really wish they would extend more of the Black culture knowledge within our history classes. I learned a fun fact that what's the name, Rockefeller actually spent I think over $100 million into the school system that is generalized education, which is what majority of our schools are using today. And he said himself that he doesn't want thinkers, he wants workers.
Yeah.
So what we're learning in our school systems right now is constantly adhering to what we're supposed to go out in society and become strictly a setting of, oh, I need to make sure I'm doing this for my job. I need to make sure I have this job and make sure I do this, make sure I do that, make sure I do this, instead of having the free thinking that we all have inside of us, but it gets squandered out constantly. And it even goes into an interview with Kanye West. And I just love the fact that we were talking about Kanye earlier, because Kanye was talking about, a kid jumps on a coffee table and gets told, no, that's a coffee table, you can't jump on that. And then us as a society, we grow up and there's a million bunch of coffee tables on our walls, like everywhere around us, and we're being told we can't jump on any of that. But if we break that way of thinking,
of course,
what happens?
It's more about learning how to critically think. A lot of people unfortunately don't know how to critically think, which, as you put, free thinking, it's about being able to ask questions while also receiving answers, or if there's no answer to said question, cool, but then also trying to find a way to make things work, because along with critical thinking, there's different learning styles, and you also have to adapt to that too. So in a lot of school systems, a lot of them, as you said, are meant for like, oh, I'm trying to prioritize my job, because a lot of the school systems in the past, and I guess even to this day, it's pretty much you're learning stuff, but there's a lot of history omitted, and you have to relearn or learn on your own. But also, you're also getting put into this system in which, when you wake up, when you're let go, blocking the schedules out, everything is in a particular shift, because during the old times, like a little bit past Great Depression, I can't give the exact time period, but they needed factory workers. And people also at school. So that's what you get primed to do. You get primed to work even through school. So that's like a lot of the issues. So like when you're just sent someplace and you're supposed to, quote unquote, learn, all the history, learn, mathematics, the sciences, your English, things like that. It's like, you're going to get some good knowledge, but you're not getting the whole picture. And because we're in America, each and every education system is not built the same.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And this system was made by people that weren't smarter than us.
Exactly.
That's the thing that I'm thinking about. Like, we still have the same system in place from people from way back when that's just been
couldn't even fathom
slightly based off of new technology and new inventions and things that are easier access to get the people on top more money.
Couldn't even fathom having a calculator.
Yo, hold on. Be careful though, because the people current days are like, they're dangerous, because like my girlfriend, she's a teacher, and she was reading, like she was talking about a book, and she was like, we all know the Trail of Tears, right? We all know the Trail of Tears.
Oh god, yeah.
She was like, so I was reading one of the books, and they were saying that the natives gave the land away and they chose to leave, and I was like, what the fuck did they just say? I was like, you're not teaching that, are you? I was like, you're not teaching that. She's like, no, but like, it's part of the curriculum. What do I do? I was like, tell them the fucking truth.
Tell the truth. The truth.
He's like,
shame the devil.
You guys remember Lewis and Clark?
Huh?
You guys remember Lewis and Clark and the Purchase in Sacagawea?
Yeah.
I still have to do my research on that, because I'm like, did Sacagawea just go willy-nilly with y'all? Like, how
of course not.
Like, let's really think about it.
Of course not.
A lot of that stuff is like
everything was made to make everyone seem cool. Disney didn't help that shit either. Like, look at Pocahontas. Like, it's not cool. All that is wild.
And that's why
the most realistic line in any Disney movie.
That's why that second movie was so bad. It was like, what?
These white people are dangerous.
What was around the riverbank? Because this is not what I was expecting.
You will get in trouble for thinking critically. Most often, people get away with slimy shit not because it's wrong. People don't get away with slime. So let me see. You'll get in trouble for calling out slimy shit because you're fucking up the flow of how things go. You're not conforming to the system. It's kind of like why if you get bullied and you punch them back, they're gonna punish you more than the bully because like, yo, we had a thing going on. It's also why like companies try to get mad at you. It's like they don't want you to be an individual. They want you to be a collective, but a collective cog.
It depends on what company you work for, man. Even so, like speaking back to like I want to touch on two things, like how to talk, like confrontation, talking to people. So our one friend, who works for Facebook, he came from a place where a lot of people couldn't fathom where he's come from, and he's doing really good right now. So I remember like we were on PlayStation, we were all talking about something. Like, yeah, my girlfriend and I are moving in, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, man. You bought a house, you paying rent, and his tone changed on me, and I was like, oh crap. I'm like, so I talked to Ike. I'm like, yo, is everything good? He's like, oh, he just gets touchy with talking about money. So what I did is I called him. I was like, yo, is everything all right, man? Because like your tone switched up on me, and I'm like, did I offend you by any chance for like asking you about like money or like asking you about the money situation? And like, yeah, man. He's like, I just don't like because like my family and all that stuff, and you do that. I said, man, I was just checking to be good on. I was just checking on you because like I said, I know you're not the type of person to let the girl live rent free. I just wanted to double check to see how everything was going, just to keep up on you. And he's like, yeah, man. He's like, I appreciate you for talking to me and actually clearing things out. I'm like, yeah, and like, all it is communication. And then second thing I want to talk about is the angry black man thing. So working at the HR company in Japan, there was another brother in there, a man Ashley, and he does his own podcast called the BU Crew. I had to plug him in there real quick.
As you should.
The BU podcast, that's what it is, and he talks about being black in Japan, and he goes in depth with it. He has a kid now, and he's been there for like 10 years. He's actually coming back home, but I remember talking to one of my coworkers, and she's Japanese, and she's like, "Wow, Ashley's like an angry black man." I said, "Oh, don't say that." I looked at it, I said, "Don't say that." And he's like, he's not. I'm like, he's not angry. He's just very passionate about things. And these are the things he's passionate about. I'm like, our upper managers would say something, and it didn't sit right with us.
Of course.
And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And like either it be myself or him, and he will go in. He's like, look, that doesn't make any sense right there. Like, what are you guys doing? It's like, if this is what we're dealing with now. And if we don't want this to explode, we should do these. We should do a few things right here. We should do this, this, and that. And we would both outline it, like what you should do to avoid this certain situation. What the company do? They don't listen to us.
Of course not.
And then the worst case scenario happens, and then the company's like, "Oh, we gotta start doing all this stuff now." And he's just like, "No." He's like, I tried to tell you guys beforehand to avoid this situation. Right. We should do this, but they didn't want to listen, and he just got upset about it. I don't blame him.
I got a two-part question for you then.
Yeah,
this for all y'all. First one, when it comes to scenarios of people outside of our race, and you feel that gaze, GAZE, you all know what that gaze is, right?
Oh yeah.
Of course, we all know what that gaze is.
Yep.
That feels like something is turning inside you, correct?
I would say it's kind of annoying, but what I started doing in Japan, I started looking right back at him.
No, yeah.
And then I sometimes wave to him. I remember walking down the street one day, and I saw like,
you confront it. You confront it.
You have to at this point.
Yeah, because I saw like, what is it?
Okay.
So I saw a grandma. I saw like an obachan walking down the street, and there's like a few Japanese guys. They're walking. She stays on the same side, but when she sees me, like I come into her. Like when she can see me, she darts across. Like she walks across the street, and I'm like,
"Did you walk across the street too?"
So what I did when next time I saw a grandma like that or anybody, like, and I saw them start like moving across. I started moving across the street, looking at them like, "What the fuck's going on?" Like,
like you were afraid of them.
Yeah.
Here's the second part to the question then.
And they're so shook about like, what's going on?
This man. The second part to that question, since that is such a ingrained thing within our culture now.
Yeah.
Do you think or do you believe there's a way to get past that, and if so, how?
I believe there is. So there, I would say like. So, especially having like Japanese in-laws, there's a lot of things that they don't know. So like my mother-in-law was like asked my wife, she's like, "Yo, does D put on sunscreen?" And she was like, dead.
Fair question though.
I'm sorry.
She asked the wrong question. She asked the wrong question. The question she should have asked, does he need to?
Yes, but like still, fair
She was
question.
like,
that's funny to me.
But she was really sincere about it, and I'm like. She's like, of course he puts on sunscreen. He doesn't need, and she's like, he doesn't need to put on as much as we do. He's like, but he still puts on sunscreen. And
I don't.
There are things when you can hear it in their tone. I'm
That ass. Sister being a doctor.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing more deadly in this world than the fucking thing that gives us all life. The sun.
Yeah.
So this shit will kill us.
It depends on where I'm at. I put it on.
Yeah,
I'm at the beach. I put on a little bit.
Okay.
If I'm in Atlanta, I'll put it on.
My man said,
"No, Kirk, we gotta go."
He said, "Stay trying to find no more. What I do."
Say it.
He said,
"All right, there's
registration.
I'm not trying to play you, but
the cops patrolling.
The sun's constantly beaming on you. I feel like you should probably consider sunscreen.
Oh yeah, definitely."
I think at this point, me and the son, we just have an understanding that, like, if I get it, I understand. If I don't, we cool. We just gonna see in the afterlife. We just gonna two celestial bodies. What's good,
talking about earlier?
But yeah, man,
you was talking about how you had open communication about, like, your black cultureness. Like, I would say that, and I know that's not pretty the way of saying it, but we're gonna say it for my mind's sake.
Yeah.
I've had to have a conversation with an older white lady when I worked at Lifetime Fitness, right? And she worked with us, and I forget what I said. I said, I think this girl that I was talking to at the cafe that we worked at dropped just said something along the lines like, "Oh, you bugging," or something like that. Something like our culture slang. I forget what it was verbatim.
AAV
or AAV.
You said AV?
AAV, African American vernacular.
Oh,
yes. And they said something along the lines of that, and she came up to me and she was like, "What does that mean?" And she said it in a tone that was more of like that older white lady, almost like a Karen-esque.
Patronizing, quote unquote, kind of bullshit.
But the way that I looked into her eyes, I could tell she actually meant, like, what does it really mean?
Yeah.
But their tone that comes off sometimes can come off a little bit stronger. But I don't know. It's kind of like you choosing to be a bigger person in certain moments.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So obviously I took the time to explain to her what it meant.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Oh wow, that's fascinating. Wow, we have a breakthrough."
Yeah, exactly. That's how it is. Even in
if
Japan,
I may cut in, like, as you know, we're all in interracial relationships, right? And all the time, you were.
Yes. Were, yes.
You were. We all have the experience. So, when, the protests were happening the past summer, the past couple of summers. So my girlfriend was like, "I want to ask you a question, but I don't want to offend you." And I was like, "You can't offend me with any question you ask if you're being sincere."
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, no matter how offensive or how, like, confused you are, I will not punish you for genuine ignorance. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Right.
Like, if you need, she's like, "I understand why we're protesting." She was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay." She's like, "Why is there violence?" And it wasn't like "why are you guys doing that?" She's just like, "I haven't been in the situation of which I've been this outraged where I lash out at, like, everything." So I sat her down and I was like, "Listen, it's because some people can't properly, in every, like, protest you have certain things, but I digress. She's able to sit down and have these conversations because she's like, there's a lot of things I don't understand. So, like, my mom will say something in, like, patois, and she's like, "What does that mean?" And I'll be like, "Here's what it means. Here's, like, the, like, closest American, like, synonym for you to, like, think that helps." They're like, "Yes." She was like, "Cream, what's a bumbo cloth?" I was like,
"Yo, that's the hardest one to describe to them, yo." Every time, like, I gotta tell you, like, every time
I'm not even Caribbean. I know that.
Like, it depends on the sentence.
Yeah.
That's what I told Kaho.
The best definition I've heard for it, for like people who aren't Caribbean, they're like, "It is a very strong expletive that's hard to define in normal terms." And I was like, "Yes, that's exactly what it is. You either know it or you don't."
Exactly.
Correct.
And yeah, man, it's especially being in an interracial, like international, like where their parents are. like Japanese and they don't really know anything about America.
Mhm.
I let them know, and I'm like, you can tell when people are trying to be disrespectful to you, asking questions,
Of course.
and it's
Yes,
the
I've been there too.
same thing in Japan. I mean, like, I like it over there, man. It's cool. I mean, like the best example of how safe Japan is, I can be at the mall and I can put my bag on the table with like my wallet, my keys, everything on the table. Go get food, come back, and my bag is still there. That's the
I wouldn't
best
try that
example.
everywhere, but I feel you.
No,
Word, that is
There's
safe.
always
Yeah, I'm
gonna be
not trying
someone
that
out
out
there.
there.
no, only in Japan, bro. I've done it even in the city. Even in the city,
Really?
bro, I would put my bag down, and they. Now, let's say if I'm at a restaurant, I'm not like out in public. I'm at a restaurant out somewhere. I'll put my bag down
Okay.
and just leave it there. Even like my homie, my man, one of my brothers out there, my man Reggie, he he left his camera bag on the train. And mind you, my man has like a Sony Alpha John, which was like maybe like $5,000, man.
God damn.
$5,000 worth of equipment in a bag. Left it on the
Ooh.
train, and we were supposed to film that day. And he's like, "Yo, man, I forgot my stuff on the train." He was able to get it at the station. Someone like the security came through and like, "Oh, it's a bag left on here," and they took it back and they took it to the box, and he was able to get it back. That's how safe Japan is.
Yeah, you would have
And
got burnt.
yeah,
I'm not
no,
gonna
exactly.
lie.
You would have got burnt heavy.
Yeah,
Not
but like I've like because I can adhere to like America to having those type of situations happen.
yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's gonna happen everywhere because I honestly
Oh
like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
America
yeah,
just
yeah,
wants
yeah,
some
yeah.
shit. Like I seen somebody get like their napkin stolen just off of the
America's
strength that
ghetto.
it
That's
was
tough.
there and it was free.
I've watched people steal a bike. So you ever seen a prank where the guy like locks the bike on like a fucking like slinky or like a bungee cord and the dude rides off? I watched a man try to steal Bull's bike, face plant into the ground, and go back to the bike to steal it again. And I was like, you clearly don't realize.
You just got
You
played.
was stupid.
It's stupid. People do that because they're. I think it's just like the intellectual of I need
I
free
have a friend.
finances. If I can get something for free,
I have a
Listen,
I
friend.
can
Right?
save for something else.
listen,
Oh.
man.
I have a
It's
friend, and I asked him. He would just like take things from people, and I was like, "Why would you do that?" He was like, "Honestly, I don't even know why. I just take things." He's like, "I just take shit," and I'm like, "So
Klepto.
what if it happens to you?" He is like, "I really only take shit from people who like disrespect or like tripping." I was like, "Regardless, that's not cool.
true.
You shouldn't just take shit just to take shit just because you can, you know."
That's what. Listen, but that's how it is. Like I was telling, like I've been preparing my wife for when she comes to Japan, comes to America, because I tell her. I'm like, she's like, she doesn't even like watching anime with me, man. Because I'll be like, oh shit, be snapping and stuff watching it, and she she's like, I don't want to watch it with you. You're too loud. I said, look, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not even the loudest person in my family.
That's fair.
And
Or your
she's
friend
like,
group, yeah.
I said,
That's
or my
fair.
friends. I said, I'm not even the loudest person. I
I'm
promise
not
you
even
Yeah,
sure
that
that.
who
might
the
be me.
loudest is.
Like
It
that's the
depends on the
thing.
situation, what
Yeah,
we play.
Yeah.
Like we playing games, these definitely top tier.
in games, yeah. But I'm like just being around like my family and everything. Like when the family gatherings are happening, I said, I'm
Yeah.
not even the loudest. I
No,
said,
yeah.
and you worried about me? I
Yeah.
said, if you can't handle me,
You're not ready.
you gonna have problems in America.
I'm the
True.
gatekeeper for this
Yeah,
bullshit, and I'm like subduing for you.
yeah, and I'm like, and I've been like, basically, as you said, like giving her like awareness on culture or stuff. So we watched like the Boondocks, we watched the Friday movies, we watched the Chappelle Show. We
Oh my
recently just
god.
got done with Atlanta. So
Word.
I'm like, yo, we're gonna watch Atlanta and check it out. And then she's like, is this really happen in here? I'm like, yeah, in certain parts of America it happens, but it reminded me of like the one dude Justin Bieber on there when Al or Paperboy when they're playing
Oh,
basketball. When they're playing basketball, and it's like, yeah,
Oh, okay.
and he's like, the girl's like, yeah, just play your part, and he's
Yep.
like, what? And I'm like, and I looked at Kaho. She's like, I'm like, and she's like, does that happen? I said, yeah, it happens. I said, it even happens here in Japan to me because like I don't fit the stereotypical black person that some Japanese people have in their mind, and then they treat me different. But when they meet one of my friends that fits the stereotypical black person, they're more like, oh, what's up, bro? They're more buddy buddy with them, and I'm like,
The issue is that's their fault for you not fit. it's always someone else's fault because they have a preconceived notion of who you are. So
exactly.
You shouldn't have to fit their mold.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of stuff in there, but I would say like for another part of the podcast, like I've probably given you guys like the real depth look at it, how I've been feeling and living in Japan. But I've met some great people out there. But one last snippet I want to say about Japan. When I was playing basketball, I was on this basketball team for about like 2 years, and they're like, "You're gonna play power forward." I'm like, "Bro, I'm not. I'm short. I'm short." They're like, "No, but you're tall here." I'm like, I said, "Bro, I'm the shortest of all my friends," and they're like, "You're the shortest?" I said, "Yeah, bro, I'm the shortest of all my friends. I usually play point guard." And they're like, I said, "How tall are your friends?" I said, they're just taller than me. You can see the height. I said, "You can see the height difference."
They gonna be looking at as soon as you take a trip over there, they're gonna be looking at y'all like monster.
I'm telling you, when we go over there, I'll regain my basketball skills so we can be the generation of miracles.
One thing that's crazy though, with
that's
Japan,
all I want to do,
is that I remember I bought new ball shoes and I was kind of tight because they were like $140 when I saw a pair of $99, like $100 shoes, but they didn't have my size. So, and they were white too. I don't like getting white ball shoes. I don't like getting white shoes in general because they're too dirty. They get dirty easily. So I pull up to the practice we have, and like, "Oh, D got new shoes on," and I saw Bull come over about this, and they lift up his foot. I looked. I said, "What the?" I'm like, "What are you doing?" And they were Jordans too, man. Like I was really about to square up with dude. I said, "What's up with you?" He's like,
"Gotta watch Boondocks ASAP."
he's like, "Oh no," he's like, "No," and he's like, "In Japan, when you get new shoes," like, he said this all in Japanese. He's like, "In Japan, when you get new shoes, like we step on it for good luck." I said, in America,
you get catfish. That's my Jordan. Just over.
Try to be disrespectful, boy. Don't try to play with my intelligence. I know what this is.
No. But they really do that. They really do it. They really do it though. Because I even seen some of my students.
I'm gonna need them not to.
I saw.
I'm a step on your big toe.
It's a perfectly good time to throw our lives away.
I saw my old students do that. It's like, "Oh, you got some new shoes." She's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you want to come step on the shoes?" I'm like, "For what?"
What? Can I ask you one question?
So,
should they be playing that game, Concho?
The little kids do, man. The little kids do, not the older ones. Yeah.
1,000 Years of Death.
Yeah, the little ones do, bro.
Why?
I don't know, but to finish the story,
it's a violation of privacy, dog.
That's a violation of your body.
No care.
I told the teammate, I was like, "Look, man, in America, people get shot over that and fights start over that." So I'm like, "Yeah, just let them know." So he didn't let the one dude know, and I mess with this dude so much. I call him my best friend, and he doesn't like me, so I call him homeless, and he lives under a bridge. I say all that stuff in Japanese, bro. I'm like, "Yo, like, like hashino shita no ni eto shindemasu." I was like, "Yo, you just live under a bridge. You got so many houses." So he stepped on my shoes, bro, and I jumped up. I ran, caught him, put him in a rear naked choke. I said, "Don't touch don't step on my shoes." I'm like,
did you kill him?
No, I choked him.
Did he fall unconscious?
No, he turned red though. No, he was good. He's like, "What was that for?" And then the other guy came over. He's like, "Yeah, you don't do that to Americans. You don't do that to people." And he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, D." I said, "Look, it's all right. It was just an instinct to jump on you. I'm sorry."
It was just an instinct.
But yeah, that's a funny story I could tell about like Japan. I got more though.
Hey, well, definitely for next time, because thankfully, younger Oracion is gonna be with us for at least 2 more episodes.
Yes,
and until then, I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. And I know it started off wild, ended it with a wild story. I think that's just perfect fashion. So to all the listeners, to all the viewers, thank you so very much for joining in and enjoying the show. Please be sure to follow us at Zenkai Station. That's ZENKAI Station. That's everywhere good podcasts be. That's everywhere on social media. And shout out to Kurokami, Black Kobayashi, and then the homie, younger Oracion.
I'm on LinkedIn right now.
What's up?
You did.
I'm on LinkedIn right now. What's up with you?
All right.
Just want to say much love, peace, and to end it all, Young Oracion is not a producer.